there's interesting models that come out of, organizational theorists, right? Organizational theorists are great at asking the question of how do you get people to participate, particularly when you're facing collective action problems, and, maybe you can get the benefits of the group without actually going out and like having to carry out terrorist attacks and kill people and things like that. So how do you motivate people to get involved? And so there's this idea of incentives, right? Providing selective incentives. And so that's one of the arguments that people often make for why leaders matter, is that leaders can provide selective incentives, right? Whether they're monetary or whether they're spiritual and things like that. But as we now know, right, in the age of like the internet and social media, people can get these kinds of non-material incentives, right? Feeling part of a group, just by communicating with people online, right? As we're all seeing right now, right? My social life is happening on the computer these days, and I'm benefiting from it, right? I'm getting something out of it. So if we're thinking about recruitment, maybe now we're seeing a different model, right? Maybe groups are really able to use this effectively. Maybe leaders matter at some point in the organization's lifespan, right? To really develop a coherent movement and a strong ideology. And once they get that going, maybe they matter less. So maybe it's a period of time, right? A kind of evolutionary process. So I think you have to think about where in the, and that really comes to an issue of thinking about not just an organization, right? But a social movement, right? The larger movement for which groups are operating on behalf of, right? Groups are trying to do something. And often we see lots of different groups trying to do the same thing. And so maybe we need to think about it as a social movement, and there's different points within the life of a movement where leaders matter more or less.